NVIDIA stock investors are pretty excited as the stock just finished at new all-time highs. It is the most valuable company in the world. It did get a price target hike of $250, and they just had their AI investor event. I'm going to cover all that in today's episode, and more importantly, as we are getting kind of into this top mentality or this amazing mentality, I'm getting a lot of questions if I'm selling my shares of NVIDIA. Well, let's take a closer look in today's episode.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, first, let's just take a closer look at stock price right now. $154.31, up about 4.3% on the day. And after hours, the stock is up about 0.3%. Now, the after hour movement, I believe, has maybe something to do with Micron Technology. The company just reported earnings, and after hours, the stock is up over 3.7%. And I will most likely be covering that on another video later today or early tomorrow morning. Now, for those that are not familiar, welcome. My name's Jose Najarro, and I cover NVIDIA semiconductor and AI stocks almost on a daily basis. I've been pounding the talks in the bullish sense of NVIDIA, and I don't do this very often, but sometimes I feel like I just need to remind everybody that this is the greatest place you're gonna get any free information about the AI market. I mean, pretty simple. Here we can look at my video that came out on April 6th of 2025. Trump tariffs will not stop Nvidia from making millionaires. Nvidia stock at that point was $94, and after hours the stock was $92. The next day, even when the rally up, I continue, Nvidia stock just bottomed, sitting at $97 then. So this is one of the few channels where you're gonna get both the bearish and bullish thesis. This is a channel where I've talked in the past where I didn't like the stock at $150. And I believe this is a stock for the patient investor, because I do believe this AI market gives volatility and opportunities, especially with everything happening around the world. So if you want more information, both on the bearish and bullish side of various AI companies, make sure to hit the thumbs up. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. It really means a lot. I'm trying to hit 75,000 subs by the end of the year. Now, let's go with all that and kind of jump into the first news. So the first news is, this was definitely one of the most bullish price targets we have. Loop Capital increased their price target of NVIDIA from $175 to $250. Remember, most of these price targets are about 12 months from now, but even here, we're talking about what, 70% growth with still these numbers. That is amazing for the most valued company in the world. Now, I want to kind of share my overall thoughts on what I think about NVIDIA, especially at these valuations. And for that, I'm going to use a great partner of this channel, Fiscal.ai. Make sure to check out Fiscal.ai/Jose for great promotions, 15% off, 2 weeks off. The link is down below. But here we're going to look at some great charts. So first, I just want to showcase how much of a monster this company is. So first, we can see the green is total revenues in the last trailing 12 months. We continue to see massive growth here. Right now, sitting at about $148 billion in the last 12 months. Now, gross profit margins is the blue, and some might say, look, Jose, this is looking pretty bad. Gross profit margins are declining. This is definitely true if you don't understand the company and might just be looking at numbers. There have been some issues, and the company has been trying to mass produce this new Blackwell chip, and reducing, because of that issue, it kind of impacted gross margins. The company has mentioned that they do believe they can get to the mid 70% in gross margins still. But regardless, even prior to this whole AI hype, this company always had strong gross margins of 60%. So it's not like this bearish case of gross margins ever pulling back will completely obliterate this number, right? From now sitting in the mid 70s. Previously, it used to sit in the low 60s. The other thing I want to showcase is, one, this company is amassing a nice amount of total cash and short-term investment. That's this orange, or around 53.7, and it has amazing free cash flow of 72.1. Now, I've mentioned this in previous episodes. This company is going to be the biggest free cash flow machine compared to any Max 7 by the end of this year. Right, by the end of this year, I think the only one that can really contend with the free cash flow from NVIDIA is going to be Apple. And if they start to invest a little bit more in AI, which is what I'm hearing they are, I think Nvidia is actually more likely to be the number one free cash flow machine by the end of this year. Now, again, this is a company that most recent fiscal year, they had about $120 billion. Analysts for this fiscal year estimate that it's going to end nearly $200 billion. That is insane. Again, that is insane. That is about a 60-70% year-over-year growth, continuing those strong double digits. Now, I don't believe this is always going to grow at those levels, but it's always going to grow at a faster levels than any of the Max 7s at the moment. Now, I also want to take a closer look at valuations. And historically, I have said that I have not liked the stock in those kind of 150 ranges. And the reason being is I do believe sometimes the market gets a little bit too excited for its potential. I think right now, based on current valuations, that's not the same theory, right? Right now, in its price to sell median is about 16.2 for about the past 5 years. Right now, the stock is trading at 16.95. Now, I'm not saying the stock is going to sell off from here, and I'm not saying I'm not saying the stock is going to continue to go up. I believe in the market as volatile as this. Obviously, you can see pullbacks, but I do believe now the stock is in the 150 ranges at a proper valuation based on a lot of future expectation. Forward PE ratio, for example, right now, the median is about 38.4 in the past 5 years. Right now, trading at 31.78. So nothing to me in the numbers scream that it's overvalued. So for me, definitely not. I'm not selling this. And even if it was, it would be very rare for me to sell this, as there is a lot of growth opportunity for Nvidia due to AI solutions, from AI agents, from robotics, from healthcare, and the list goes on and on. But to me, again, this isn't saying that the stock isn't going to drop. I do believe it is possible for stock prices to drop. There could be some random macro event like tariffs, like some export restrictions that we've seen in the past that create this negative sentiment towards the stock price. But for me, I have no reason to sell at the moment. There's nothing showing me that, look, this is the end for this company. Will I be adding at this level? This is another question I get. This is 30% of my portfolio, so usually my thought process is a little bit different. If I didn't have a position right now, like always, I would say this is a small dollar cost averaging opportunity. I would be more, if we do see a pullback, that's when I would be a little bit more heavy. But this, to me, even with valuations not that crazy, it would be more of a small dollar cost average to get some exposure into it. But at the moment, it is about 30% of my overall portfolio, so I'm not touching or adding anything right now. Now, I also wanted to compare it to kind of some of the big giants right now. So in forms of forward PE ratio, Nvidia is pretty much trading in between a lot of these giants. The only one that's really outlier here is Google at 18.5. I'm actually extremely bullish on Google. This is a stock that I'm buying like crazy right now. I actually just bought an extra 100 stocks in the past few days. This is one I'm very, very bullish on, and I'm adding dramatically to throughout the upcoming weeks. So Google, I think, is undervalued, but that's not the point of today's episode. We can see here with the other players, Nvidia is trading right in between them, which makes no sense because this is the only company that we can see the massive outlier in revenue growth outside of all of them, right? All the other ones are growing in between mid single digits to low single teens, while Nvidia isn't as growing as fast as it was before, is still growing at strong double digits and trading on par to those other companies that are not growing at that same level. So again, nothing tells me that I should sell this stock right now. And as we're going to see from this company's earnings shareholder meeting, that thought process continues and continues. Again, make sure to check out my overall special offer, fiscal.ai. I use it for everything from those charts. Next, I'm going to look at it for the transcript of this stock shareholder meeting that happened today on June 2025. You do kind of get an AI summary. I tend to read a lot, but if I was more on a rush for something like this, NVIDIA's my baby, right? So I look at it, I read it very detailed, I even listen to the call. But if I maybe was just more curious on the top level, you can do the AI summary, or you can ask questions on the custom summary. The other thing is you can get the slideshows that came out from the presentation as well. So luckily, I have created kind of a quick PowerPoint of some of the important things from NVIDIA's meeting. And again, I know I asked first, but I'm really trying to hit 75,000 subs. If you are enjoying the amount of data you're getting here for free, make sure to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. So in the NVIDIA meeting, NVIDIA kind of showcases that they are no longer just a chip company. They've transformed from a chip company to a system company to a data center company, and now they're an infrastructure company. What that means is if you are a data center company and you want to build a massive AI factory, you can call NVIDIA and say, hey, look, I want to build this massive AI infrastructure data center. Can you help me out? And NVIDIA is not going to solely do it, it has partners, but it has created this amazing supply chain that is able to handle these massive orders. Some companies like AMD, I would say, are still kind of in between the system and data center. And this is why there's this main difference between kind of AMD and NVIDIA. I do believe AMD eventually wants to reach here, and maybe this is not an AMD versus NVIDIA episode, but there is a difference in competition. It's no longer just about the chip, and most semiconductor companies are no longer just a chip company. Most are somewhere in between this transition of system to data center when NVIDIA has already passed that and is in the infrastructure play. So out of this kind of meeting, there were a lot of votes. I don't think anything in the votes theoretically mattered for us. Definitely check it out if you want to learn more. I kind of highlighted really good information. So they talk about Blackwell, which is their newest chip right now. And they mentioned it came out in the fourth quarter with about $11 billion. And in the first quarter, it more than doubled and easily is their fastest ramp in history. Today, nearly 100 NVIDIA AI-powered AI factories build-outs are in flight around the world. That's double what they saw a year ago, and they're getting larger. The average number of GPUs per factory has also doubled. That to me is insane. There's a lot of demand coming here from the AI market. The other thing is they mentioned that they are beginning of a decade-long AI infrastructure build-out. Demand for sovereign AI is growing around the world. Sovereign AI is each individual country building their own AI infrastructures. We see it all around the world. Obviously, you see it here in the United States, but we've heard a lot of reports of various countries in Europe. We've seen it in Japan. We've seen it in India. We've seen it in various Southeast Asian countries, South Korea, and the list goes on and on. And one of the big bullish cases that they see right now is AI agents. But Jensen also believes the next wave is already coming. The next wave is physical AI, robots that see, reason, and interact with physical world. Robots and all the AI infrastructure to train them will be the next multi-trillion-dollar industry. NVIDIA builds the AI factories to train them, the digital twin worlds to simulate them, and the robotic computers to deploy them. And they also talk about kind of the AI agent and large language models, that AI is no longer one shot. Reasoning is now up to 50 to 100 times more than it was a year ago because of the magnitude of thinking. And we continue to see this massive build out of AI factories. The market thinks that inference is easy. Inference at scale is extremely computer science and system engineering. They also mentioned that algorithms are evolving constantly and architectures must be flexible to adapt. That final one, so he took shots here at two companies or two competitors. The first one that say inference is easy, that's kind of a shot at AMD. Then the next one, the algorithms are evolving constantly, is a shot at ASIC solutions like Broadcom and Marvell, because they kind of mentioned ASIC is not going to withstand here. So they kind of gave us some pretty cool slides, kind of the AI factories, the Blackwell, and these two kind of main opportunities for them, AI agents and robotics. And here are all the Blackwell architecture and solutions that they have. They're going to obviously evolve in the next year to the Vera Rubin, which is the next generation and is going to do pretty strong. The final thing I want to mention is there was a Q&A session during this meeting. There wasn't anything crazy. The only one I really liked was how can NVIDIA improve sales given the competition? And Jensen mentions that they have a multi-trillion-dollar long-term growth opportunity with AI and robotics. Our markets are rapidly expanding and we're confident in our ability to grow. While we have a lot of competition, we have leadership positions in the market in which we play. There are numbers of elements that will help us maintain our lead. In robotics, NVIDIA is poised for significant growth with autonomous vehicles serving as the first major commercial application. So, yep, I mean, overall, the meeting shows everything is good. Obviously, price targets are pretty cool. It's not something I'm necessarily that excited about. But as you saw, the numbers look super amazing for NVIDIA. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Take care. Have a good day. And let me know if you want to learn more about AMD and Google. These are two companies that I recently talked about, and you should see the videos up here. I'm very bullish on both those companies, especially Google.